Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Thrashers Paradise. I am joined with Sergey and Gab of Fall of Stasis, and they are joining me today live from Montreal as we are here to talk about their debut release, Chronophagus, which I'm pretty sure I messed up, but we're just gonna roll with it.
You got it right, Colin.
Oh, I did.
Good.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, right off the bat, because it is a very unique album title, and as you told me before we started recording, it's a made-up word. What made you all in the band decide that this would be the perfect title for the debut release?
But first of all, it was the title of one of the songs, and we decided afterwards the name of the album. But where it came from, it's Tristan, our other guitarist, was, I don't know, I don't remember what he was talking about, but he said something along the line of, "This task is very chronophagic," or something like that. Like he meant it takes a lot of time and everything. So he just, I don't know, he kind of made up that word at that time, and I just thought it was cool. So I built like the lyrics of it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And we felt that was maybe of all the songs we had, the album, I think it was, but for me it was my favorite, and for first two, and we just thought it was like a cool album name.
Awesome, because honestly, I love the title, and it stands out, which I think is really cool, because, you'll have a lot of boring titles, and then you have this one where it's like, I've never heard of this before.
Right.
So that's really cool that it stands out. And the name of the band, Fall of Stasis, that just stands out, and it's a really nice sounding name. What inspired the name of the band?
So that's an interesting story. And some of the details are kind of vague. Like, he was correcting me on the story recently. I'm not too sure how it went. But here's the thing, like, we went through a lot of members in this band, okay? We started this back in maybe 2013 or something like that. It wasn't too serious at the time, but, me and him are the founding members of the band. And, we didn't have a name at the time, and we were just going through bassists, keyboardists, singers. And, at some point, we had kind of a stable lineup, but not really. And we just weren't able to move things forward. And anyway, at some point, we just disbanded. Then we got together again, and we were like, okay, let's give it one more push, okay? I think we can do this. And what I said at that time is like, okay, but this time, no fucking around, like we're gonna do this. We're gonna write an album. We're gonna do some shows. So status quo, we're done with status quo. Okay, let's move forward. And stasis means status quo. It means like nothing changes. So, and we didn't have a name at the time. So what I said is like, okay, fall of stasis. The end of the status quo. Let's move forward. So that's where it came from. But since then we've kind of built songs and lyrics that go with that theme. So yeah, it's pretty interesting how it went down.
Wow, that's crazy how that just worked out. And now here we are, 2022, and you're releasing your debut release, which comes out at the end of the month on February 25th. Has that set in yet that we're only a couple weeks away for your debut release to be out into the entire world to hear?
Well, I don't know about that. It kind of feels like unreal in a sense, because the album's been recorded and produced and finished for like maybe how much time?
Over a year.
Yeah, and we like there's a lot of restrictions, and like we kind of do concerts and everything. So we wanted to do a show for the album and everything. So we waited to see if like the shows would reopen and stuff. So we waited, and then we just said, fuck it, let's go. Let's just release it, because like we will never release it anyway. So we just said, let's go and do it. And so yeah, it's a weird place in the sense that it's been ready for like a year almost, and then it's just unreal for us like to I don't think I've processed it.
And we've postponed it so many times, like the pandemic. I understand it hit everybody. Nobody likes COVID, but honestly, like the timing for us was particularly bad in the sense that the following week we had kind of a small tour across Canada, and that was going to be our first tour. So it got canceled right away. And also, we were going in studio to record our first album. And we were going in, and then everything closed down, including the studios. So all our plans were fucked up. And then when we finally were able to go in the studio and record the album, then we didn't want to release the album like, okay, that's it, release it on the internet, no shows, no nothing. We felt like, it would not be the best timing and we wouldn't get much coverage. And so we postponed it many times. And then we're like, okay, that's it. Okay, that's enough postponing. Maybe this is never going to end. So let's go with that. And I mean, surprisingly enough, our prime minister in Quebec just announced that everything would reopen full capacity in like a month or so. So maybe everything is for the best. So fingers crossed.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That's happening. That actually was going to lead into one of my other questions on how's Quebec doing with, everything opening back up again. Because I think we're on our 57th time here in Ontario of reopening.
Mm.
So it's good to hear that. But there is a song out, and I heard it earlier today on your Bandcamp, which you can pre-order and get, bundles of amazing merchandise and CDs. And I was listening to The Cult.
Cult, yeah.
What made you guys want to have that song be the one people got to hear and get a taste for the album on Bandcamp?
I think it's because, first of all, it was a short song. So for us, I think it's much easier to do a clip if it's a shorter song, first of all. And second, I think you get a lot more people's attention if it's a short song instead of like we have a few like 6 minutes and 7 minute songs. So not sure it would have been great in that sense. So I think it was like a short song. I think there was a lot of maybe everything in that song too. So we figured it would be the best to release, and we had an idea for a clip too. So it just fit in that sense.
Yeah, and the it's kind of catchy. Like the chorus is catchy, but it's not too cheesy either. And yeah, I think it was 3 minutes long. It's perfect, and we got our friend to film the clip, and he's very talented. And we got other friends they're fire breathers, and they're very, very talented. And everything fell into place, and yeah, we felt like it was a good song to represent fall of Stasis, at least in the beginning, like to introduce ourselves. Might not be the best song to represent us as a whole, but it's a good introduction, I feel.
I would definitely say that, because as listening to it, it was like the perfect way to introduce yourselves and get familiar with what is Fall of Stasis and what you sound like. And you heard all the elements in there, and honestly, I loved it. And I was listening to the album of it earlier, and it sounded great. I was falling in love with it because it was this majestical thing that I'm not used to hearing out of Canada, because there's not many bands like you from where we are. And I think it's really cool that you sound the way you sound and that you're doing what you're doing in this country.
Yeah, I think you're right. I feel like deathcore is a big thing here, classic death metal, even black metal, but they're very strict. What's melodic is sometimes not as appreciated, and that's okay. But we sound a bit more like European bands in some sense.
Yeah.
Like so, yeah, it kind of clashes with the local scene here, but we don't mind. We just want to do our thing.
Yeah, I think it's good too that it's difficult to classify our band like sound-wise, because for me, I think my favorite bands are bands that they have their own sound and they don't sound like any other band too. And it was kind of the goal to have different sounding songs and everything, because we have a lot of different influences among us. So in a sense, we listen to everything. So we don't like to have boundaries and like, okay, we need to do like a pure black metal song, or this one needs to be a pure melodic, and we don't want this or that. So yeah.
Awesome. Now, for you guys personally, as we just discussed with your band sounding different from typical bands from the Montreal area, do you think that helps you get on more bills, or does it kind of take away your chances to get put on more shows because you do sound different from other bands in that area?
I think it helped us in a sense because we did many shows with like different styles, different subgenres of metal. So I think we go in a lot of places. So we did like shows with more deathcore band, shows with more folk band. So we kind of fit everywhere. So I don't think it hurt us. Sorry.
Me neither. Like I was gonna say, we did shows with bands that are way too big for us to play with them. Like we didn't even have an album. We were this unknown band, and we're playing with the likes of Beyond Creation, Wolfheart, Seven Spires, Obey the Brave, which are they're established bands. And usually when we don't even have an album out, you don't get to play with those people, and we're very grateful for that. And I think one of the main reasons why we get invited to those events is, as Gab said, because we kind of fit with everyone. Every time they're considering a band, if our name comes up, they're like, okay, yeah, it fits at least a little. So yeah, I'm glad we have that sound because it's very versatile.
Awesome. Now, for you guys, off of every track off of this upcoming release, for you personally, which one did you find the most difficult or the most annoying to work with in the recording process?
It's a hard question. I think, well, it's different for everyone, I think, because we have some parts, like he has some drum parts. He's like, oh my God, it's crazy. I'm just strumming stuff. I'm like, no, this is the easiest thing to play. So, but I would say like the Chronophagus, I think there's like a part towards the end that's, honestly, I don't know what's going on in that part. It's a lot of odd time signatures and everything, and he's playing like another thing over it, and honestly, it's pretty complicated, and we had to work hard to make it fit and make it like cohesive and everything. There was a lot of synths in that part, so we have to tone it down a bit because it was pretty chaotic. So yeah, I'd say maybe Chronophagus for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. Chronophagus, because of that part he's talking about. Like we don't even know what the time signature is still, and we're pretty good with theory. Usually, we asked our producer. He says, "Yeah, I'm not sure." So yeah, that says a lot. Like drums have a time signature, and guitar have a different time signature, I feel, and it's just very hard to nail this part. But overall, I'd say it went very well in the studio because we were hardworking. Like before we went to the studio, we were like, okay, let's go. Let's not waste the time of the producer because he's being very nice to us. He's working hard on the mix, so let's make it easy for everybody. And I think he was very grateful. He told us like, you did your homework and it shows, and I thank you for that. So Chronophagus was a hard one, but other than that, I'd say it was pretty smooth.
Yeah, and with Chris in the studio, he's so good, honestly, just like in what he does, but also like how he handles like the musicians and stuff, because he makes you feel comfortable. He's very like easygoing. You go there and he's like your best friend, and you make jokes and you just have fun, and it's pretty lighthearted. So I think it takes off a bit of the pressure you have, especially like if it's your first album in an official studio and everything.
Mm-hmm. Of course. No, of course, that makes sense. Yeah. For you guys, where do you see Fall of Stasis in the next year or two?
The next year or two, okay, let's say there's no pandemic. Okay.
Let's pretend.
Then I see myself at home practicing. That's where I see myself if there's a pandemic. But otherwise, I have kind of big expectations. I think I think we're going to be able to do some good things, maybe get invited to a few festivals because we're not under a label, and I think things are going pretty well for an independent band. We didn't release our album yet, and the numbers are still good. At least to me, they look good. So the reception has been great too. The comments have been overwhelmingly positive. So, I mean, I can't say for sure where we're going to be, but I think it's going to progress pretty fast. At least that's what I hope for.
Yeah, kind of same thing. I hope like we could do like maybe a small tour like we had planned before COVID and everything. So maybe like a small Quebec, Ontario, New Brunswick tour. So I think that'd be great to just promote our album around and everything.
Awesome. Now, guys, I got one last question for you, and it's a traditional question we ask here on Thrashers Paradise to our esteemed first-time guests that do join us for an interview. And it's simple. Who would win in a fight, Lemmy or God?
Does God have speed and cocaine?
No.
No, Lemmy will.
Lemmy, easy.
Lemmy,
Easy. Come on, ask me something harder.
I will the next time we talk. That's for sure.
So we're off the radio now, eh? That's for sure. We're off the radio show. It's gonna be YouTube only.
Oh yeah. That's more fun because then the people can see our faces and they can know they can see who's talking.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, Gab, Sergey, thank you so much for joining me tonight and taking time out of your busy schedules just to sit down with me and just talk over Skype about your debut release, Chronophages, which is due out on February 25th, and you can get pre-orders on Bandcamp, and I'm pretty sure it will hit other streaming services on that day too. Yeah?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
Besides that, is there anything else you guys have to say or want to say to the people watching this?
Well, I always say the same thing. It's I think the music that we made for this album is pretty original. Even if you're not a fan of black, you're not a fan of death, you're not a fan of folk, I don't care. I think there's gonna be at least one or more songs that you're gonna like on this album. I think. So at least give it a listen. If you don't want to pre-order it, that's fine. Go on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and give it a listen, and we'll see if you like it. I really hope so.
Excellent. And until next time, everyone.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on. And until next time, everyone, keep on thrashing.
Yeah.